Welcome to the Salt Circle Podcast. My name is Hank. With me today is Ben.
Heyo.
What year is it?
I'm not telling. Not telling you anything.
Damn. What year is it though?
It is 17,776, I think. I lose track. That sounds right.
Yeah, 17,776. That's correct.
Yeah. That's what we'll be discussing today.
We're talking about the future of football.
Yeah. Actually, before we dive in, I have an anecdote.
Okay.
So, I was talking to Anya about podcasts, right? And she was mentioning a couple of what she's like, I listen to a few podcasts, whatever. I'm like, oh, cool. Which ones? And she names off like 3 or 4 of them or whatever. I'm like, are you forgetting one? She thought for a minute. She's like, no. Like, are you sure? I feel like there's one more podcast that you mentioned that's really cool and very good. And she like literally, she was like not picking up on this at all. She's like, no, I don't think so. I'm like, wow. Okay. A little bit hurt. Gonna go cry in the other room for a bit. It was great. She was dying. She like literally did not get what I was implying for like the entire time. It hurt my soul a little.
And she said spaghetti cast.
Oh God. I don't think I've had her listen to Spaghetti Cast. I think I've just told her some of the stories. Not all of them.
Don't have her listen to spaghetti cast.
Yeah, okay. No. She like I only started existing to her when I was like 22 or whatever. She doesn't need to know the Ben that existed before the age of 22. Nobody likes that guy. Just awful.
But yeah.
Anyway, yes. Future of football.
Do you have more to that story? Or?
No. But, getting back to the actual.
Yeah.
So, I want to tell my introduction into this because I find it funny a little bit in hindsight. Of course, you had linked the sequel is out now, or the continuation, I guess. Sounds better to me. What is it? 20,200? 20,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
20,020.
20,020. Right. Get it? Like 2020.
Yeah.
And you had posted that in the Discord, and you mentioned it was the sequel to 1777-6, and it got entirely ignored, and it was hilarious. I myself clicked on it. I think I clicked on the sequel one, and I knew it was like, it was something. Like I understood that it was not just an article or whatever, but I clicked on it, and the 2020 sequel, it starts out, and it's just realistic enough that I literally thought it was a transcript of an actual like talk show. And again, I recognized that this was like a thing, like it was a not a comic, but like a story sort of deal. So I assumed that the website had just broken on mobile, and it had like taken me to a wrong section. So like I thought I was looking at a real transcript, and I'm like, I'll just find the actual page later. I have no idea. Like, this looks all janky on my phone. So I like totally ignored it. And I think then we were talking about stuff, and you recommended like personally that I check it out. I'm like, okay, well, I can't say no to Hank. So I did it up balls deep. Absolutely. I felt kind of bad that I managed to read this before we did the Mr. Miracle podcast, because like, I'm sorry, in comparison, this just it consumed me. This is so good. Holy fuck, it's good. Like, it's, so I had read for a while, I think to like halfway point, maybe a little more. I had been into Homestuck for a while, and this admittedly was because of a girl, as happens, but the medium was interesting. The way that they're using, you're on the internet, you have so many different kinds of media and ways to play with storytelling at your disposal. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of similar if you've never read it, or if anybody has never read Homestuck. It uses GIFs now and again. It sort of has a format where you're just looking at regular pages, and then once in a while there's maybe a bigger page that has like some more color, and kind of at the end of their big arcs they have like a very well done video with like custom music, and it's where the spice hits. It's the good shit. But Homestuck is fucking terrible. I stayed in it way too long, trying to merge interests with this girl, and just lots of regrets just because it did not pay off at all. This is like the full form of that, like the use of GIFs, of the, you have your images, you have them even just in the start playing with like the calendars and like that length of time. And then you have your YouTube videos that are, adding that little extra punch to certain parts. And it's so good. It's such a cool coalescence of media to tell this story. And I really enjoy it. It's very well done. Like that bit, there's just enough visual aid to like give you a reference, but there's not so much that you can still have a bit of imagination with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean I assume we're gonna get into like spoilers and shit, I guess, but
yeah.
Without like, I guess prior to that, I highly recommend people check this out. It's very good. It maybe is a little odd at first, and there's I think I asked you after starting, like, is there a point where shit comes together? And there is. Actually, I guess of the first section, the main character is like the perfect vessel for the reader, because the character is kind of new to this universe and is also asking a ton of questions, and things do get resolved. It does start to make sense, and it's just a very nice descent into this world and what's going on with football in the year 17,776. It's really good.
In the future.
Yeah, in the future.
And then but also there are just things that are said and you're like, is that what? What is happening?
Yeah.
What's going on?
God, it's so good.
And the things that, so it has like, in terms of like getting other people to look at it, it has three things that seem to turn people off, which is one, it's presented first as like a normal sports blog, which was your first links for it are both times have always been that, and I love that. It's so good, it's such a good bit, but I get people are not necessarily into reading sports blogs at all, so they try to tune it out. And then part two is it's confusing, and there are people who don't like being confused. And I'm perfectly fine being confused. Like, I don't have a problem having no idea what's going on, generally. Generally, I find that some things I try to share with people that involve being totally confused, like comics. Like, I'm totally fine jumping in the middle of a comic and having no idea what's going on. That doesn't, like, I'll figure it out later. Like, figuring it out is part of the fun. So that's fine for me. But I find that people who complain about continuity in comic books, they don't like not knowing all the things or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then apparently just reading. It's like a lot of text. And apparently people don't like to read, because that's all the response I got when I posted the 2020 thing. It was like, that was a lot of words.
That might have been that might have been like a misunderstanding with what it was. Like if they thought it was something like kind of blurby. Because this is like a sit down and like chunk out what there's 25 chapters. You're kind of right. It's like a mini book. Like you could do it in a.
But I mean that was looking at the 2020, which is like one thing and then a YouTube video.
Yeah. But if I mean, why would you start with the sequel? That'd be worse. That'd be so much worse. Because in the first story, like they do resolve things. Like you're confused, but it slowly comes together, and then I think pretty much every major question I had gets answered. Like it's very well done in terms of like wrapping things up and revealing more of this everything.
Sure. But like that doesn't come at first.
Yes.
So like
you're confused for a while.
Wherever you're getting in. Like again, and I like sharing it just as the link that looks like it's a sports blog just cuz that bit is so good. Like that bit of seeing it as that kind of link but coming from a writer I liked, which was Jon Bois who made this thing, and seeing it as like a sports blog and then clicking it and it being this totally other thing was so fucking cool. I try to share it that way because that was such a fun moment for me. Back when the 1776 or 17776 came out.
Yeah,
because I definitely linked it back then too on my Twitter or whatever, but nobody paid attention.
I had some like vague recollection of you linking it. I'm definitely one of the people like, sport ball. Less so over the years, but if I'm not in the mood, I'm not gonna click on a sports thing necessarily.
Yep.
So yeah,
I understand. I'm not.
I'm
not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Well, now retroactively, like I'm super sad. Like as you know, I went back and linked it again. I'm like, no, you guys need to look at this though. It's really fucking good. No, this is so far in 2020, this is like easily one of my favorite things I've taken in regards to media. Fuck, it's good. I think we can dive into some of the actual content now. 'Cause otherwise I'll burst. So yeah, go read this if you haven't. It's like 25 again. If you sit down, you could probably knock it out in like what, a few hours, something like that. It's not super long. Yeah, there's like several, I don't know, 2.5-minute YouTube videos, and then it's just reading, but it's good reading.
I mean, it's like a 25 chapter book or whatever.
Yeah, a novella, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how much the text would add up to, plus the YouTube video stuff.
Yeah, and it's all dialogue.
Which is reading also. Yeah,
like even reading it, like it bumps along because it's as much as I love Tolkien describing
there's no like narration really. It's all done through dialogue.
Yeah. So
characters talking to each other, which, as someone who likes dialogue, I am all about.
Yeah. If it's something like this, like it's awesome. Though, I'm totally down for Tolkien describing a leaf for like 8 pages, but in something like this, it would be aggravating. So yeah. As I mentioned, spoilers from here on out, just in case it wasn't like totally fucking obvious.
Yeah.
I was so confused, just early on, like with the calendar, and it was so good. Like I really do love how much the reader's experience is tied to Nine's experience. Like, who are you? What's going on? All this shit, and then the payoff. The payoff was so fucking big. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I trapped on this? No, Nine, listen. Why am I trapped on a space? No, not. You are a space probe. Like, it's such a good reveal. Oh my god. That was like the point. That was like the moment. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. Like, I'm balls deep in this. I need to know where this goes. So good. Just such a good bit. Ugh. I love it.
Uh,
So
it's so good.
how did you come across this initially?
Oh, I've the guy who made it, Jon Bois.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a lot of internet stuff before this. I think the thing he's probably the most famous for is the series Breaking Madden he did,
Okay.
which was mostly a written feature, but had like also had videos where he would like have ridiculous like Madden challenges, things he would do in the video game Madden to try and break it
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And he also did that with NBA series with NBA 2K, and then he also like just does these. He does a bunch of YouTube essay on he had this series Pretty Good, which is videos about stories that are pretty good, and some of them are sports, and some of them aren't. Like he did one on, like the first one is like a baseball one. But he's also done. He did one on the show 24. He did one on a stupid calendar fight on a bodybuilding forum.
Hell yeah.
So like they're but most of them are sports related, but some of them aren't. Like he did one of my favorite ones he did is on the highest scoring blowout in college football history, which was a 222 to nothing game.
I know that. I think I know this. Is it the one where their only like reasonable defense was a fucking pyramid?
Yeah, like at the very end,
Yeah.
they do the build the ladder play,
Yeah, the
which
fucking
which ended up making it a 222-point win instead of a 223-point win.
Fuck yeah.
It also broke the guy's face. He blocked it.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
So those videos are fucking great. So like I'm kind of just all in on whatever Jon Bois does.
Okay.
Honestly, like he's another series he does is Chart Party, which is more like stats focused on sports stuff.
Yeah.
Like he did one called Scoreagami, which was just about all the different. It was like a chart of every different possible football like end score of a game,
Okay.
and like which scores have we not gotten and which ones are rare or whatever. Dark Scoreagami.
I think you've definitely linked that. I recall looking at that.
I've linked some of Jon Bois' stuff in the Discord before, yeah, because his videos are always so good. He did a 2-part called the Bob Emergency, which is about how the name Bob kind of doesn't exist anymore, and like it goes through a history of all the famous athletes who are named Bob.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. And then like one of the big things he worked on but didn't narrate this 5-part series on MMA that was like I guess a couple of years ago at this point that was fucking unbelievably good. It was really good. And I don't care about MMA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was just kind of all in on stuff he works on.
Okay.
And also like SB Nation where he works, like their whole YouTube channel kind of then became like making videos like his weird ones. So their whole YouTube video that's the rest of it's all sports focused is actually really good because they have like a similar ethos about looking at weird stuff.
Okay.
Or interesting stories. Like looking at sports in terms of storytelling rather than just like fucking the talking head bullshit that ESPN is.
Yeah. So, what is your bringing it back to
Yeah.
future of football. What's your what's the big draw for you? Like what's you had to name like the biggest thing.
I mean, it's just good. I don't know.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I like the like. It's again, it's similar because it's his sense of storytelling that like somehow finds like this balance he finds between being like what's like worth remembering and looking at and like emptiness and like stuff that's just sad and like beautiful but sad and sort of like and like the kind of music he does and like the mood he sets.
Dude,
It's just really
yeah.
good. And
It's
that's consistent throughout his other work, even though
okay.
that the other work is more nonfiction.
I so there was a point early on where 10 gives the population of the world and she mistypes it as like 800
Uh-huh.
million or
Yeah,
8
8
million
million rather than 8
some
billion.
yeah, and like that immediately set such a tone for, for the fucking for the whole thing. And then at some point when Juice corrects it, he's like wait, what? No, 8 billion. And that just immediately this is now flipped. Like this has become less of some weird dystopian thing and it's now just like this whole different ride. And it was such a
Uh-huh.
it's so that single thing just totally changes this. And then that I because for me like the football stuff is fucking great and like on one hand it makes me sad because I want to experience this. Like I want to
Uh-huh.
like it's so fucking good. I just want more of the games. Which we'll get to why they're so amazing in a minute here, I imagine. But
Yeah.
how he combines that with the like the some of our science fiction concepts, right? Like so basically humanity has stopped aging or stopped dying, I guess, from natural causes.
Yeah.
And due to some technological advancements.
Like they cured death.
Yeah. Well,
Humanity. There are these nanobots that like will save you regardless of what you do, and also people mysteriously also stop dying unexplainedly.
and being born.
Yeah, and also there are no new. So
Like
like there are no children in the world.
yeah. Yeah, there's no children and yeah, there's something like I think it's another kind of technology like you can be whatever age you want to be. Like if you want to hang
Yeah.
out as an old person, you can just be an old person. But like in theory you don't have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, and kind of one of the things like it's questions that are entering my mind, but I don't know what type of story this is yet, so I don't know if they're going to be answered. Like why the fuck are they talking about like regular trucks? Why are they talking about buildings that have been standing since like 1930,
Yeah.
10,000 years later? Like why are they on hold at fucking Burger King? Like all this shit. And it's just slowly revealed that like yeah we did that we did that whole thing, flying cars, like perfected technology and all that, but it just wasn't what people wanted. It turns out we're imperfect and imperfect people want to fucking get a lukewarm burger from Burger King and kind of bitch about it a little bit.
People have nostalgia for this area of their lives, and when people all the people are thousands of years old, they just like what they like and they just get weird.
Yeah.
You don't have new generations of young people to change the world or throw that off and have their own desires. You just have people doing the thing they want to do.
Yeah.
And
So-
also sometimes getting bored and inventing crazy football games.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, there's this, or even like they talk about one of the people at some point. There's three main characters and then kind of just a host of random people that occasionally, maybe like some, like one or two like sub characters that they come back to. it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
There was one or two in the first series, and now in 2020 there's like a couple of guys that they're coming back to. But everyone else is just kind of like a bit of a one-off. Like, you're meeting a lot of different people, which is amazing for world building. And like, one guy's a cop, and like, there's no crime anymore. Like, they don't need cops, but like, that dude just wants to be a cop. Like, he wants to fill that role in society because it's one that's just been there. And there was something I've encountered a lot of takes in science fiction, of course. I don't know that I've encountered this exact one, and it's just super interesting to me because, like, I could see it being a thing. Like, it feels real because, like, that's probably how I would be. Like, on one hand,
like, that's the thing to me is, like, I really like this thing of just, like, people, like, just like the thing they like, and if you just left them around, they would just get weird about it.
Yeah.
About their thing or whatever, the things they care about.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, like, I just like the science fiction that's realistic about how fucked space travel is.
Yeah. So that's kind of the other thing, like, they get into, you know, they had been looking for how many thousands of years and just finding basically nothing. And
yeah,
of course, I think at one point they do like a little calculation. It's like, well, we could send out this many probes, but there are this many stars around us that we could feasibly get them to. And if we built all of those probes to go to each of those stars, it would take this much materials, which is like 10 times the size of the Earth. So, like, we'd have to narrow it down, and it's just like, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah.
So
like the problem, even with infinite time, the problem was just not solvable in a way that mattered.
And there was one thing, and again, this is why it was like kind of fucking creepy, because like I was thinking of questions that like a lot of stories wouldn't answer, and then they just answer them. So I was like, they said like, oh, we could be, you know, when you have a trillion years to do something, like, what does it matter? I'm like, do you though? Do you? Because like entropy and the end of the universe. And then they're like, nah, the end of the universe turned out to be bullshit. We fixed it. Like, the sun's just gonna stay on forever now. Like, and you don't need, like, of course, I'm sure there are people who be like, well, how? What did you do? That doesn't fucking matter. They fixed it. Yeah. Like, it's great.
Yeah. This is the setting where it's this weird limbo world.
And it's so good. It's just interesting, like, maybe because we're only seeing like stuff with football, it maybe feels a little empty sometimes, but like the more you learn about this world, like the warmer it becomes, I guess, because like you realize that it's still filled with people, and like people are just having fun. They're doing stuff.
I feel like it actually confronts the like existential fears we have today, like in a world where we understand more about what we understand about space travel and stuff. And just like, I don't know, I just like that thing of we're kind of, there's kind of not a point except, you know, we're gonna do this thing and get like invested in the thing we're gonna get invested in, just because that's what we're into. I don't know how to explain it, but like the mood, it's the whole mood and ethos just really works for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, this is just like for science fiction in general, this is now some of my favorite concepts. Like, it's just so, it's so cool to think about, and it's like it addresses our shit, and it's just it's very, very good. So yeah, football is fucking dope.
And also, like, a person rides a tornado.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, there's like billions and billions and probably trillions of these tiny nanobots that, like, what did they say? They like calculate for any possible like problem and prevent people from dying. So like a guy gets in a car accident, they immediately are like, it's not like they arrive, like they're just already there and they have him pulled out of the car.
Yeah.
Another
they won't save stuff. They'll save people, though.
Yeah. Another dude is like in a cave and they like constantly come in to scrub the carbon dioxide out of the air because it's like a toxic pit. So they're constantly there scrubbing the air and like bringing him food so he doesn't die. So yeah,
I love the warning on the toxic pit cave, where it speaks to you, the reader, saying, "Don't go into this cave." Okay?
Yeah. Like for real though.
For real though, you reading this, don't go here. I'm gonna tell you about this, but fucking, I don't.
Yeah,
don't do it. People are dumb.
So yeah, our our introduction to football is a person running across the what do you remember what position she was?
No, I don't remember.
Do you know what position she could hypothetically be in football if she's running with the ball? The name I'm still,
running back?
Sure.
Receiver? Wide receiver?
Okay, one of those. And she's trying to make it across the state of Nebraska, right?
Yeah. Nancy.
Yes, Nancy. And in an absolutely outstanding move, she decides to ride a tornado to get the defense off of her tail.
Mm-hmm.
And that is our introduction to football in the year 17,776.
She's running across Nebraska because the play of field is the entire state. Field of play is Nebraska, and the end zones are Wyoming and Iowa.
It's so good.
It's so good.
So this is our brief.
And you're like
intro.
introduced to these people who are like storm chasers, following this football game around, just driving. We've been following it for 8.5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I love just like before you learn like all the stuff of just like how long things have been happening. It's just like, what? Just following this football game for 8 years?
Yeah, dude.
And 8 years is not that long to have been following a football game.
Yeah, no, like they're like, man, this is the hottest it's been in like 2,000 years or whatever. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah, so football has gotten crazy because people can't die, and they don't age, and we can do anything. So fuck it. We're gonna make, I forget the exact parameters. There's a football game they wanted to keep it kind of classic, so the field is the same width as the football field, but the length is, what was it? It's like the entire, I know it gets stuck. It's like several states or whatever.
Yeah.
Something. So essentially
it's continental U.S. I think that one is, but I don't remember.
Something to that degree. It's just
basically
absurd.
That long.
It's just absurd. And they get stuck. Like, it turns out they didn't look closely enough at where the field would be laying, and there is just a sheer cliff face. So people have been like playing in this little valley for like thousands of years, and and the reader and the reader placeholder 9, the character, our main character, confused by this, right? Like, why the fuck, if it's literally at a stalemate, there's nothing you can do. Why stop? Well, they've already put in like a couple thousand years of time into it, so it's not like they're running out of time. So let's just keep going. So
they're committed.
So they're just in this valley perpetually trying to get the ball out of it.
Well, and I like that. So our three narrators are three like the characters we go back to are these three satellites: Pioneer 9, who's the newest to turn on to like
Yeah,
become sentient.
yeah.
The Pioneer 10, and then Juice. who's the
Jupiter something
Icy
something.
Moons Explorer.
Icy something Explorer, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And I love that.
Europe.
So I love the dynamic of like Juice is really into this dumb game, and 10 is just done with it.
Yeah.
As like our introduction. I love how often it's like, oh man, look at this thing. It's so cool. And then 10 is like, this is so stupid.
Dumbest shit in the world. The
And
game
9 is just like, oh, this sounds like it could be cool.
yeah.
Doesn't know as much.
And the game where it turned into like 58 teams on the field because the rules changed midway through the game and now there's like a skyscraper and a fucking there's like a
they're
restaurant
just,
on the
over
field.
the years, football rules had changed so much that during uh, 49ers Steelers game,
Yeah.
like the fans took possession of part of the field,
Well, because
and then
yeah.
over time, it's just gotten more and more ridiculous.
Well,
But I love that one team is like has their big part of the field and they're determined to get back to this football game.
yeah, this is
And
normal
the other
game.
team does not care. The other team has a tiny corner with a stool, and every once in a while, one player will come out and sit on it for a while.
For a Sunday, yeah, during normal game
Yeah.
time. Well, and that's
And there are people that live on the field.
yeah, because they were
And there's
like
a skyscraper.
they basically turned it. What did they say? They used it as like a. They said this is like the end game of capitalism or something or democracy or whatever. Like the rules are just so convoluted that you could argue
Yeah.
almost anything was possible in this game. So that's
That's
great
like
one.
there's like a place people stay on the field. It's like a
Yeah,
tourism
yeah. You
thing,
can
like
rent
stay
a
within a
you can
football
rent
game.
a house. So what's your favorite game that they mention? There's so many different variants, even just lightly.
I mean, my favorite thing is, my favorite game. I don't know, probably the one, like that first one with Nancy, with the single state.
Yeah, kind of a more
Um,
compared to some of these others, a more traditional but big version.
Yeah. My favorite part of the story is probably with the light bulb.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole thing. But
So there are two other. I mean, there's maybe some I'm forgetting, but there's two other big instances of like examples of wild games that people now classify as like professional football. One of them, what do you remember the guy's name? They were trying to get every football signed by this dude, like Cat Dynick, something close to that.
yeah, I don't remember the name.
It's he was like a backup quarterback in whatever 19 whatever, and
Yeah.
of course,
The description of that game is fucking great.
yeah.
That's that whole idea of like literally we're at the point of like, all right, this thing is obscure enough that we might be able to get physically all of these objects that this guy signed.
Yeah.
Like that's a achievable goal because he probably didn't sign that many.
Yeah,
And
so
that's such like a collector element
Yeah,
that
dude.
like taps into collector thing. It's like, okay, what is feasible to actually collect, but rare enough that it would feel cool.
Yeah. So the goal was to get every football signed by this backup quarterback that barely anybody knew, and you weren't allowed to buy the balls and it was something.
You weren't allowed to talk to him.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to ask him like how many he signed or where they are or whatever.
Yeah. So it's also a game where you don't know how many.
Yeah. And they said
objects
like
there are in it.
yeah, the total can increase, but there's like there was some stipulation like after 500 years if none are found. But then if one is found later,
if
like
you haven't
the
found
game
a
will
new
start.
ball
Yeah.
in 500 years,
So
and someone has a
yeah, and so like this guy he hears a random thing from of course you're trying to find all this information and network and like get leads, and you
so
have
like
infinite time.
well, the bummer of that story is like at some point he and the other guy who had like two people had basically all the footballs between them, and they were gonna make a deal to like co-win, but then like the dude double crossed him and like destroyed his car, and like half the footballs were destroyed.
Yeah, so now he's running out of time to find more.
Yeah, to find one more to start the game back up.
And then he thinks he finds one, but it turns out it was a guy with the same last name but different first name. So he goes all the way to New York to meet this dealer, and it's just for nothing. It's just, so that's a game of football. And
also, like New York is the whole East Coast has been flooded.
Well, yeah, because we fucked around with climate change. Like we didn't do
anything. Florida and the whole East Coast are all underwater.
Yeah. And yeah, the
that's
light
like
bulb.
The image for 1776 is like the Statue of Liberty, like half underwater, along the skyline.
And the light bulb thing that Hank mentioned. So I'm sure many people are familiar with the game 500, right? You know, kids on the playground, you huck a football up in the air. Someone hucks the football up in the air, they yell a point total, and whoever catches it gets that amount of points, and they get to throw the ball. And then whoever gets to 500 first wins. So you always had that one kid who was like, it's 500, and it's just, you know, whatever. So the version of this is there is a giant fucking cannon in Alaska on whatever mountain, Mount McKinley. They use the real name.
This one might actually be my favorite game.
It's so good. I forget I want to use the real name to be respectful, but Mount McKinley. Yeah, there's a giant cannon that launches a football somewhere in the continental U.S. And the operator calls out the point total, and whoever finds it first gets that amount of points. And whoever gets to 500, then they become the new operator. So just the imagery is so, I love the description of it. Like, yeah, you know, sometimes you get like an engineer who's like drawing a smiley face across Wisconsin or whatever. And then sometimes you get someone who has no idea what they're doing, and they just hit buttons until kaboom. Like, it's so good. What a fucking great idea. Ugh. So yeah, Hank, what happens with this light bulb?
So there's is it like the first? I'm trying to remember now.
It's like the centennial bulb.
Light bulb?
I don't think it's the first. It's just one that's been going for 100 years. Like, it's a real bulb. It's an actual thing.
Yeah, and it's just been it's never burned out because it was made super early by a company that made light bulbs that went out of business because their bulbs didn't burn out, so nobody had to keep buying them. And this bulb's just been, you know, going since 1901.
Yeah.
Basically. And so, you know, in a world where people live forever, like, people know about this bulb. Like, it's widely known as a thing. And also for, like, these satellites, it's, you know, like an ancestor.
Yeah.
It's a light bulb. It's a piece of equipment that's been going on for forever. And one of these footballs gets shot out of this cannon and falls on it and destroys it.
Yeah, goes right for the corner of this firehouse. And
yeah. So yeah, it was set up in a firehouse. So it's like it's the closest thing to death they experience in the story. Is this light bulb being destroyed?
Yeah.
This thing that, like, they had emotional investment in. They just thought it would be around forever like everything else, and then suddenly it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's
But
a little eulogy video.
yeah. So yeah, just the crazy, and there was one more actually. I can't remember the dude's name. The guy who was in the cave for like 9,000 years. So
Yeah.
there is a game going on, and I think the rules are kind of more traditional. But one of the rules they implemented was if you are in your, is it just your end zone? Do you remember? Like if you're in your end zone for more than 10,000 years, like that team wins. So
Yeah, something like that.
yeah. So this guy has the ball, and he goes into this cave that just like nobody really remembers. Just kind of got lost to time, and he's just chilling there with the ball, and he's been there for 9,000 years, just waiting so he can win the game by default.
Yep.
That's football, baby. 10,000 years of waiting. Oh, and he's playing the little game.
Yeah, he's got like a Tiger Electronics fucking terrible. Well, he's got a bunch of them, right?
Yeah, but he said he's
There are a bunch of
spending
them in
like
there.
however many 100 years on each one, so he does it.
Yeah,
like,
because he's gonna be here for so long. He's got to make them last
yeah.
before he gets sick of them. Oh man. I like that. Like when you're living for so long, you have to make your media last. You're rationing entertainment.
Yeah. So I just like, of course they only describe a limited number of football games, but this just makes my imagination run fucking wild. Like, what game would I make if I was making a football game? I have no idea, honestly. Do you have any? Did you think up any, like, when you were reading this? Like, what
No.
football game you... Okay.
Not really. But back to I just really like that thing of like give all the time in the world. You need to ration mystery because there's only so much of it left.
Yeah. I forget what did
That idea.
What was the exact question they asked? That was a response.
Wasn't that one? I think that wasn't a question. It was like him describing what he was doing, which was going like systematically walking across the country and talking to everyone.
Yeah.
And like so that like he knew where everyone was and like who everyone was.
Yeah.
And also asking them about God or whatever. It was also a weird like cult.
Yeah. There's something here. Okay, here it is. Yeah, the more fun story is that in the 1800s, there was a gang of bandits known as the 11 Jones Gang. They lived in the cave and built bedrooms out of its little corridors. They instilled an iron gate in here to protect all the stolen treasure they stashed. There's a Confederate sword from the Civil War. There's a cannon for some reason. The guy's like, is any of that actually in there? He's like, pass. What? Pass. Like, you know, you're an asshole. You have all the time in the world,
Yeah.
and there's just a little bit of mystery left. Ration it. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
Such a good bit. But yeah, no, that's also a very good bit. Totally.
50,000 years down the road and you're all out of mysteries.
Yeah.
Mystery is an exhaustible resource.
Yes. You better save it instead of gorging yourself like a little piglet. Amazing. He's not wrong though.
Yeah, I know. Look, your priorities have to change when you're never gonna die.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the... this fits right in, I mean, with sort of the world they built, right? With keeping our current technology and everything.
Man.
What this kind of reminded me of is like... And I'm sure this is a thing in this universe as well. Like in the stories universe. Like the equivalent in modern times maybe is, I have every fucking piece of information essentially at my fingertips. If I get into an argument with some dude at a bar, like, we could solve it right then and there. I'm not going to, because that ruins the fun, but I certainly could. So sort of that idea of, like, you don't have to look up everything. You don't have to know everything. You can just leave a little bit, and, like, sometimes it's still just fun to like theorize about stuff for a while. Maybe if you're 4 hours deep, you can pull out a phone and find the answer, but it's just, I don't know. It's different, and I can still vaguely remember, like, being in school and talking with people, and none of you fucking know, but you all think you have the answer. And now it's like, okay, well, everybody just hop on Google.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely can understand that feeling.
Man,
you did
good thing.
You've not dove too deep into the sequel, right? I wasn't sure if we were going to be talking about that at all today, or if we want to do a separate
No,
episode.
I wanted. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to do a separate episode, or we'll just do it on like a pile of salt and talk about it.
Okay, just like bring it back. Yeah, I've been keeping up with it. It's real nice.
Yeah, because I mean it's like they're only like 5 parts out so far.
Yeah,
it's not that deep in. But the new What Year Is It video, that thing slaps. I've watched that thing so many times already.
It's real good.
Like the description of that college football game, so good. Juice slow rolling them. Oh.
Yeah. No, that the new I'll just say for the sequel, the setup we have is like the future of college football. And it's fucking amazing. It's so good. The reveal about all the rules and the crazy shit is fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that one like totally has the thing of like these guys are describing like they're like going to the grocery store and these weird constraints they have, and like you don't understand why, but then it's like you start figuring out like, oh, because that's the football field, so they're stuck on this football field, so they can only get to this part of the grocery store, because that's the part that's in the field of play. I also love in that first part where you just go, oh no, now it's boring. Get out of here. After the interesting parts happen, just like get the fuck out of here. I gotta get together stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, it obviously is a huge part of the first section of the second or of the sequel series bit, but obviously in these games, even if Nebraska is your playing field, you still can't go out of bounds. If for some reason you don't have enough room in Nebraska. So no, it's such a creative piece, and it's just the blending of like this football and having this world kind of revealing itself around this core is just really entertaining.
Yeah. Well, the way it like sets its mood with the integrating the YouTube videos and with music and the images it uses is all really good. It's put together really well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and this is why, like, it's what Homestuck could have been if it was good, and not just a convoluted mess for the sake of being a convoluted mess.
I mean, I just also think it's great. Like, this is part of a sports blog website.
Yeah.
Like, it's part of the SB Nation website.
Yeah, the fact that this
Jon
is
Bois
like,
is just good enough
it's
to get
part of a
away with
real thing. Like a serious,
like it was made to look like a fake sports blog, but it's still on the sports blog website.
Yeah.
That's like part of why the bit hit so hard. Didn't like make up a fake sports blog website for it.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
I
a
was
website
prepared
where you
to,
might see an article about regular football.
I was prepared to read it for a little bit, and they tore it away from me.
Please answer.
I just want to know what the future of football is.
Please answer.
Please respond.
Please respond. I'm never talking to you again. Please respond. That opening bit of fucking 9 freaking out
Dude, it's so
over
good.
the calendar.
And then that, like, it's like timing in comedy, right? Like, they had the perfect amount of, like,
Yeah.
blank space to, like, really just let it go. And then right when it's becoming a bit much, then they, like, gotta bring it all together.
Yeah.
Okay, listen to me carefully. You need to not, what is it, like 27 years? You need to not respond for 27 years. Don't say anything. In exactly 27 years and 13 days from now, I'll talk to you, like, I'll message you first. Okay? Don't respond to this. Okay, I'll be waiting. Wait, shit.
Yeah, I know. Like a week later, wait,
Yeah.
shit.
Like, oh, for fuck's sake, no, don't respond. Whatever. Okay, 27 years. Okay. No, wait, shit. No, sorry. Okay, 27 years. I'll see you for 27 years from now. And then it finally goes, like... It's so fucking good. Yeah, the fact that it takes a week. Wait.
Wait, shit.
Unbelievable. So good.
Yeah. And like again, like character interaction dialogue driven. Like high concept sci-fi. That is my jam. I need
Yeah, dude.
the like all like the character interplay stuff is it nails that in addition to like these weird sci-fi this world building and it gets the high level and the low level.
It feels
That's
so...
what makes it for me.
Yeah, watching the characters interact is so entertaining. Like, it's just a very nice setup. I mean, I also love that stuff, just not in anime, I guess. Characterization in my anime? Fuck off. That stuff is for words. Yeah. Juice just fucking roasting 9 for what her camera is, or what their camera is.
Yeah. Oh,
That's your
so
camera?
good. Your camera's
shit.
trash.
Turn it on yourself. You look like a tin can. You look like what it was like the inside of some like animatronic bear or whatever. I don't know. It's some reference. Just absolutely
the inside of a
roasting
Teddy Ruxpin, or
Yeah. Just savage for no reason.
like it's so rude to this
this
it's so
baby
good.
essentially.
Yeah. 1,000-year-old baby
Yeah, dude.
has like built up knowledge.
Yeah, just slowly became sentient.
Yeah. And I like that the satellites just talk to people on Earth too. They can just call people and talk to them. They're not like beyond the thing they're looking at. That they're just other people basically that happen to be turtling through space.
Yeah. Or like when they have 9 like talk to their first human. How did you get this number? Who is this? Like, no, seriously. And then 10 hops on like, oh, Tenny, like just a friend.
Yeah.
And
Good
then,
times.
and then she had like, it was the same person that her Ten and Juice talked to. So she's like, you should have seen them. They were also like, just no idea. What?
Yeah.
And then Juice and 9 fucking laugh. Maybe Oh, you know what? I think that's in the second part. They're laughing at some stadium that looks like an asshole. Opening and closing.
Okay, yeah, I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay. Yeah. But just how, like, 9 is, like, firmly in the middle. And 10's just like, don't encourage juice, please. Like, no, I want to see this garbage game. Like, I want to see game 96-420 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Aw, yeah. No, please.
No. Not garbage football.
And then, like, 9 actually gets excited about all this shit. Just, yeah. I love watching them interact in that way. It's such an exciting concept. It tickles my imagination. No,
there's a lot to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really cool, and I was so happy when I saw he'd gotten to do a sequel.
Yeah. It had been what when did the first one come out? Like 2017 or 2018?
I think 2017 is when it came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I might check out more of this guy's stuff just because, like, this is so good that I want to maybe see if other stuff kind of hits. Even though obviously it's not the same, but
yeah, but you should check out some of the YouTube videos he's done.
Or like the Madden thing certainly would probably be nice, Madden. Easy intro. Yeah, I've played Madden. That's how I learned how football works.
Hell yeah.
I learned, how many downs there are. I started questioning.
I might have learned the rules of football from Madden.
Hell yeah.
It certainly, definitely clarified some things that I was
yeah.
The sport that I really remember learning from a video game was tennis. I had no fucking clue how to play tennis till I played Mario Tennis, and then I knew everything.
Wow. Okay.
And then I watched actual tennis and enjoyed it even.
I see tennis. I actually took some lessons when I was a kid, so I actually had an idea.
I'd never played it. I had no idea how it worked. I didn't know why the scoring went up by weird numbers. I still don't know why it does
I have
that.
No idea why,
but at least understand what it does.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I only really like tennis matches that are endless, though. My favorite tennis matches are the ones that just go, like the finals of Wimbledon, that just fucking go forever.
Yeah.
They can't. No one can win, and everyone's exhausted. That's my favorite. That's why the movie 7 Days in Hell speaks so strongly to me.
That reference is
it's a comedy about a 7-day tennis match.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Faux mockumentary.
So was your
Andy Samberg.
Was your favorite part of Death Note the tennis match then?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Obviously.
Just making sure.
I love that there's a part in the musical about my favorite song in the musical takes place during the tennis match.
I forgot there was a musical. I could have just continued forgetting it.
Whatever. Death Note is a good comic and a bad TV show.
Too edgy. Yeah, the show is too edgy. I take a potato chip.
I think that the comic is good, but the show, the way it does stuff, I think kind of fucks it up. Also, the second opening to Death Note, one of the worst openings to any show ever made. It's so bad. The first opening is good, even, but first opening is probably my favorite part about that whole anime existing. But second one, oof.
Pretty sure Jeremy loved the second opening. It's like the metal one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He downloaded that group's discography.
Ugh.
The anti-Hank.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm tapped out on future of football. Aside
Alright.
from just like continuing to say it's so fucking good, I could do that for
Yeah.
ever.
Look, they just perpetually hang out.
Dude, it's great. That's what I wanted. That's it. That's the fucking fantasy. I just want to hang out. I just want to chill forever.
Yeah. All right, you can email us saltcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter @saltcirclepod. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes podcasts, various podcasts. You can have Salt Circle Podcast. You can find me on Twitter @comicpanels.
And I'm on Twitter @Dr_Atheist. Do we
And
have,
by doctor, you mean DR underscore, not the
Yeah,
word
sure.
doctor.
I guess. Do we have a Patreon
No.
for all of our extra content?
Nope.
Okay.
We do not.
I need a place to upload my conspiracy theories, so whenever you
Start a Tumblr.
No. That's for music reviews only. And I stopped doing that because I got lazy.
Yeah, I haven't written on my Tumblr in like a year.
Hell yeah.
But I got a like on my October movie roundup from last year, which is the last thing I wrote. Like today, like this last couple days.
Yeah, I got a follower like a week ago or whatever. I haven't written in like
Hell
months.
yeah. It's hard to write about movies when movies stopped existing.
That's true. That is a big setback to the movie review area of the world.